This is the Ask the Experts radio show on AM 1380. The Answer.
Welcome. I'm Charlie Simons, AM 1380 The Answer, and always trying to get you answers. We have our show every Saturday called Ask the Experts. In studio now is a man who, how long have you been doing this?
28 years.
I think you're an expert. You're doing all right?
I like to think I learned it by now.
His name is Todd Fulton, Vice President of Syntrol. That's an unusual name, Syntrol. It's not Syntrol. It's not Sin Patrol. It's Syntrol, Syntrol. Where does that come from?
We would have loved to have been the first on Google to have Syntrol. The common spelling name, but we wanted the name of the company to sound like Syntrol. Then we started thinking a little more intelligently and outside the box, and synergistic control, things like this meshed themselves into that name.
See, now you just made it much easier to remember. And what Todd and his company is mostly involved in is plumbing, electrical, heating, and air. Now, before you go, oh, I've heard it. Oh, good heavens, everybody's got some kind of HVAC company going on. They got their trucks running around. They got this, they got that. What do you do differently? Why do I want to listen to Todd Fulton from Syntrol?
In addition to the mechanical trades that you just mentioned, we're a solar company, windows, insulation, roofing. The things that we do are centered around energy efficiency and improving the shell that you call your home, the place you live, making it better, less expensive on a month-to-month basis, and giving some value accrual to the property.
This station has a pretty good reach. We definitely cover the greater Sacramento area and then some. How far do you go out? You're in Roseville.
We're in Roseville. We're in Chico. We're in Yuba City. We're in the Bay Area every day.
Okay.
We're all of California. We have a Southern California team. Where the need is, we are.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then you and I need to talk about dual pane windows. My wife and I we're so greatly blessed with a house, a home. We bought a home probably 3 months ago, and we're up in the middle of nothing. By design, that's where we wanted to be, up in the mountains. And so there's the home was built in 1977. Now it's a good solid structure, but it's got single pane, aluminum framed windows, and all the stuff that I'm sure you've seen time and time again.
Sure.
Stuff that makes it very hard to mostly heat. So you guys come in and to a home like ours, and you basically retrofit it and update it and make it much more, as you said, synergistically controlled, Syntrol. Am I right there?
You're on the mark, yeah. If I walked into your home today not knowing anything about it, the first low-hanging fruit is your windows. You're letting all the cold and the heat from outside inside. So the best thing you could do would be seal the envelope, the inside envelope of your home. And there's a few things that take care of that. Attic insulation and air sealing to keep your heat and air in the home instead of floating up through the ceiling wherever you have a can light, and increase your insulation levels to R38, about 14
light.
and a half.
That's funny.
You know,
that's
heat
contractor
rises
talk.
and it goes right out of it. You know, the little recessed lights. Every hole in your ceiling is an escape hatch for the heating and the air conditioning. You're trying to keep it inside.
Right.
And your windows are the same thing. When you retrofit to, say, a dual pane argon gas-filled retrofit window, literally, when you touch the window from inside the house, the window feels the temperature of the interior of the house. You're not feeling the heat and the cold of the outside of the home anymore.
Wow. And heat is, don't think that just because you're living in a climate that doesn't have very cold winters, you don't need to think about that too, because the same applies for heat and keeping the cool air in.
Correct.
So how about solar? That's all the rage. All of a sudden, everybody who's done heating, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC are now doing solar. But you guys, you got a head start, because what did you win in 2012?
We won the 2012 United States Green Plumber, USA Green Plumber of the Year
I know that
award
because it's right here on your website.
for water conservation. Green Plumbing is a worldwide organization. It started in Europe and Australia, where they really take their water conservation seriously, much more than we had here in California. We're catching up. The United States understands what a drought is now.
Yeah, I think
They
do.
understood it more, and we're ahead of the curve in other countries. So the things that we had performed was retrofitting thousands of high flush volume toilets in conjunction with other programs and city programs, just to try to reduce overall water use. We would do entire apartment complexes, in a week, change out 1,000 toilets for them.
Good heavens.
And it creates
That's a big job.
It's a big job. Toilets, the most indoor water use is used during the bathroom.
We're talking low flow toilets, and don't you have to flush those 2 or 3 times? So how is that?
Fun. Yes and no. Yes, you did. When the government insisted that we change toilets, they came out with the idea of a 1.6 gallon flush toilet. And great, everybody was on board to save water, but the design and manufacture and distribution had to happen so fast that it turned into a new technology for toilets. The toilets that are high efficiency today are 1.28 gallon per flush, and they're much better than the older 1.6 gallons. They do more with less water, and the difference is the older toilets, and including the 1.6 gallon per flush, ceramics are glazed. If you look at the outside of a toilet, it looks like a china plate.
Yeah.
It's because it's glazed. If you lift up your tank lid and look inside, it's very rough in there. Well, that's what the inside of the trapway of a toilet was like. It was rough when they were using 1.6 gallons per flush. And the opening of those toilets that allow waste to go down were relatively small, 2.5 inches, I believe. Now, the high-efficiency toilets have a completely glazed interior trapway, which
only makes sense.
It totally makes sense, and it has a wider throat on it, so it's easier to get waste products down in, which is by design what you want to do, is move everything out of a bowl with the least amount of water that you can, and the new design of the toilets does that quite well.
Let's talk about the bathrooms. Todd, let's stay in the bathroom. Todd Fulton here is Vice President of Syntrol. That's SYNTROL.net. You want to look at their website. They got a great website, answers all including free solar consultation. And you can get register for a free home energy audit. That's awesome. That's basically you're doing a home inspection.
Yes, exactly. We want to see where you're bleeding energy-wise.
You want to give Todd a call. His phone number is 916 area code 772-5813. That's 916-772-5813. 772-5813. My wife is from Roseville. You guys are at 2120 March Road, suite number 8 in Roseville. What area is that? I'm not familiar with it.
That's out by Denials.
She
Farmers
probably knows.
Market auction.
Yeah, she loves Denials. Oh, every weekend. Hey, let's go to Denials. So you're over there in that area. You're over there by the Old Town then. Over in that area too?
Relatively close, a couple miles.
I like that. I like that area. I like what they're doing. Roseville's doing some great stuff there. Let's stay with the bathroom though. In our bathroom, the shower is also the bathtub. And it doesn't seem to drain fast enough when you shower. There's like 2 inches of standing water in the tub by the time you're done. What do you do? Do you just need a bigger drain, or do you need to invest in some liquid plumber?
We try not to recommend additive products because some of them are corrosive to the pipes themselves. You're not going to increase the drain size without costing yourself money that's unnecessary. A tub has an 1.5-inch drain, and a tub drain catches all of your hair. The soap products that you use tend to cake up and film, the inside of the pipes. So I would just recommend a plumbing company like ours could come out and just snake that tub line and get it flowing faster.
Beautiful. Okay, that sounds pretty simple. And we were talking about the low-flow toilets and saving water, and we're also thinking about how much we use when we shower or bathe, and a lot of that is I think about when you're trying to get hot water coming through the pipes because you're going to get in the shower, and it takes 2, 3, 4 minutes sometimes before that water gets warm enough. Otherwise, you're starting off with a cold shower. And I hear a lot about the tankless water heater system. Does it actually save water? Is it worth the investment?
A tankless water heater is a great device. It saves gas, natural gas, or propane if that's what you're on. It does not save water. It's a water heating device, just like a kettle on a stove or your tank water heater. It's still heating from a sole source. And what you're talking about when you're experiencing your long wait times at your fixtures that are furthest away is the time it takes for that hot water that may be instantaneous, as the tankless terms like to say. It's instantaneous at the water heater, but it still has to travel through every pipe in your house to get through to the bathroom that it's serving. So depending on your usage, the great thing about a tankless is that when you have a tank water heater, you're heating water all day. Here you are at work interviewing me, and you're heating water at your house right now, and you're not using it. And that's where the waste is. A tankless water heater doesn't function at all until you turn on a hot water fixture. Then it instantaneously, and that's where the word does fit in, fires and heats water and sends it to your fixtures. When you shut the fixture off, you shut the heater off. There's no pilot light. No gas is used unless you're actually using hot water at the time.
Interesting. So saving water, no. Saving energy, yeah.
Yes. And your wait time, that's something that's crucial, especially in times like now. We are facing a drought, and it's not going to be the last one. Certainly wasn't the first one.
Right.
While things may get better, the fact of the matter is, let's play a game here. You see this little glass of water that I have right here in front of me.
He's got a bottle with water in it, right?
It's bottled water. And just for a second, pretend that's all the water in the world. This is it. Okay. Everything. We'll never have more water than this.
Got it.
And we'll never have less water than this. That's a fact. We have the same amount of water right now in the world as we did hundreds of thousands of years ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Right.
It's a repetitive cycle. It goes up, it comes down.
Dispersed in different places or stored.
Exactly. So there's no problem for me to take a sip out of this bottle, which is our world's water supply, because there's plenty in there. Now here you come, and you take a sip. Well, it's population. In the 1900s, we had millions of people in the world. Now, in 2015, we have 9 to 10 billion people. These are users of water. So what happens is it's not a water shortage. It's the same amount of water. It's an ever-increasing number of water users that are depleting the water supply. So what we're trying to learn and what we're trying to teach is how to use water a little bit more wisely.
And we, going back to the tankless water heater, you're saying not really a great tool for saving water, but how about its shelf life? Because a regular water heater, we have a 40-gallon, and they don't seem to have much of a shelf life like they used to. They seem to go out or go bad as soon as the warranty ends. Am I right?
It's common, and average warranties are about 6 years, so let me answer your question with a question of my own, Charlie. You ever service your water heater?
How do I do that?
Good answer. So no is the answer we're looking for there, and nobody does. That's a problem. Sure, it keeps companies like ours in business, but the smart thing to do, and it's so simple. There's a little spigot, a hose bib connection at the very bottom of the heater, and what ruins water heaters, tank water heaters, is sediment buildup in the bottom of the tank from hard water, calcium deposits that are naturally occurring in your water, building up and settling at the bottom of the tank where the burner is. Once over the years these start building up, they're a couple inches deep at the bottom of the pan. your flame has to burn through those to heat the water that's in the tank. It's getting harder and harder now for your water heater to get to the water it's trying to heat, which means more work for your water heater. So if just once a year you hooked a garden hose up to the bottom of your water heater and you opened that drain valve and you let the water run out into your street or into a bucket or into your lawn or someplace where you were getting some use out of it and just looked at the water, you may typically see some brown sediment coming out of it. And once that's run clear, you shut it off and you take your hose off and you've just serviced your water heater and prolong the life.
That's fantastic, because there's not that many moving parts. It's not like it is something that should go bad, right?
Yeah, it's not designed to be maintenance ridden.
I don't need to lube, oil, and filter change the water heater. That's some excellent advice. Now, the water coming out of there is going to be scalding hot, though, right?
It is, yes.
So you're going to need you're going to need
whatever
a hose.
Temperature you're set at. On an average,
you're going to need
water
a hose
are
that
120 degrees.
You need a hose that can handle that heat, then, not just some cheap little garden hose, right?
I would not recommend the saran wrap type of hose, but most hoses that you could get and garden hoses can handle a couple minutes with some hot water going through them.
Okay. Because that would that would not be good. Suddenly the hose is melting. Oh, this is great. How about this water pressure thing? It's great everywhere except the kitchen. How do you boost the pressure in the kitchen? And my wife literally asked me that. Is there anything you can do to? Well, I don't. Everything's at full blast. I don't know what to do.
The pressure is the same in your whole house. The water pressure that comes into your home from the street is a constant. Average is about 50 psi. And if you have fixtures that have great flow rates to them, and then you have fixtures like your wife's kitchen sink, the problem's usually at the fixture itself. It's very common that aerators get clogged. Mm-hmm. An aerator is just the screen where the water comes out of a faucet and it unscrews from the faucet, and you can wash it and clean it out. And you'll know if that's a problem immediately. If you take an aerator off of a fixture and then you turn the fixture on and suddenly you've got tremendous water pressure, all you have to do is simply clean your aerator. Beyond that, if you still had a problem with pressure, it could be a kink in the piping under the sink or some buildup in a water line that's going to that fixture, especially with older homes that have galvanized piping. Galvanized piping really has a narrow waterway.
How old is that?
Galvanized piping's from the 60s.
Uh-huh.
It was later replaced with copper piping, and now most new homes are built with PEX, which is
plastic.
It's a plastic pipe, cross-linked polyethylene, and it's a wonderful
Doesn't that give it a
transition.
weird flavor?
No, it does not.
No?
It does not. It has less buildup. It's a lot less noisy of a water system because it's
no more clanking pipes?
bendable.
No more clanking pipes in the house?
No more right-hand turns. All those right-hand turns create noise while your water's flowing, and so this is a way to get water more directly to your fixture as the crow flies, as you're pulling it across the house without having to put a bunch of fittings and turns in it.
Interesting.
And also it helps in cases of freezing and heat expansion. It does expand and contract and allow for some of that movement, especially in many homes do not have finished garages. So the garage is the place where when it's freezing outside, your pipe splits. The copper pipe freezes up there, and then when it thaws, you have a geyser in your garage.
If that's where your water heater is.
It's not an insulated
You're talking
attic.
about if that's where your water heater is, right?
That is usually where your water service comes into your house, and it's the cold line on that water service that will split during a freeze because there's no water movement. Now, if you're concerned about something like that, which a lot of people are, they don't have their homes prepped come wintertime for a freezing condition. And there's a few things you can do for that. You can turn just one faucet in the back portion furthest away from your water service onto just a mild drip. If it drips once every minute, that's perfect. You've got just enough movement to keep water moving through your line before it freezes.
And that's at the furthest water source at the away from where it comes into the home.
Correct.
Is what you're saying?
Correct.
So in our case, then that would be the bathroom. So the sink in there or the bathtub, literally just drip.
Yeah, and I would recommend a lavatory faucet because,
Drip.
again, the idea is not to waste water.
That will
but
keep
but it
the
is
pipes
to,
from freezing.
Yes, exactly. If you're weighing the two different sides of it, okay, I'm gonna make my faucet drip, and I'm gonna give up 3 gallons of water tonight.
How much?
Versus I may have my pipes freeze and lose 200 gallons of water in 10 minutes and flood my house.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, not a not a tough choice.
It's the lesser of two evils.
And if you want to take it to the next degree of staying green and saving water, put an empty soda bottle under there and use it to water the dogs.
You could always capture that water.
Yeah, or water the indoor plants.
Before the market came out with retrofit recirculation systems for hot water, very conscientious people would literally in their bathtub while they're waiting for that hot water, pour the cold water into a bucket and use it to water plants or something outside.
Yeah.
Now that's fantastic and admirable and not necessary anymore. The new recirculation systems are designed for houses that weren't originally piped to have a recirculating hot water system. But the great thing is they bring hot water to the furthest fixture of your house without one drop going down the drain waiting for it.
Todd Fulton, Syntrol, Syntrol.net, Syntrol.net, Syntrol.net. Todd Fulton, how does that whole, what did you call it?
It's a retrofit hot water recirculation system.
Recirculation system. What is that?
I'm glad you asked. That cures our dead air time problem. Well, a recirculation system basically, in an aftermarket installation, it pulls the cold water out of the hot line and pushes it right back into the cold water supply of the same fixture. So here's the grand design of America's home builder now. You have a garage in the front of your house, and you have a water heater on the stand in the garage. Mm-hmm. You have a master bathroom or a kitchen all the way in the backyard, overlooking the backyard. I've never seen a master that's right up front by the water heater.
Right.
So the bathroom that you use the most takes the absolute longest amount of time to get the hot water to it. So they make a pump that goes underneath the sink in the bathroom, and you push a button, a simple wireless remote button. You push a button, this pump comes on, it pulls all that cold water out of the hot line, pushes it right back into your house's cold water system. That pump will sense temperature rise. Once it senses that the temperature's risen about 20 degrees and the hot water's almost there, the pump shuts itself off. At that point, you turn on the fixture and you have your hot water already without waiting and without pouring any down the drain. And the greatest thing about these systems, especially when they're the remote controlled systems, it's not a timered recirc pump. You can go to the big box store and buy a recirc pump for $200 to $300, and then it's a timer, and oh, darn it, I'm not up at 6. My hot water's not ready for me now.
Right.
It's not that convenient for you unless you want to run it for an extensively long period of time during the day. And what you're doing when you do that is you're creating more work for your water heater. It's now heating not just the contents of its tank, but the contents of your whole hot water system in your house. Is now more area it's got to cover. That when the pump shuts itself off, that's the least amount of energy you could possibly use.
That's awesome. And you have those. You put those in. You install.
We put them in all the time. A great plumbing package with us.
So that's a great idea.
A tankless water heater coupled with a recirculation system.
Todd Fulton, he's at Syntrol. Contact him, use him, utilize him. He's waiting for you, and with 28 years experience, he knows how to answer any question you toss his way. Syntrol is Syntrol, Syntrol.net. Not .com, but .net. And their phone number, 916 area code 772-5813. They're in Roseville, 772-5813. 772-5813. Thank you, brother. Pleasure meeting you.
You too, Charlie.
This is Ask the Experts on AM 1380, The Answer.
Home, health, finances, and the law. This is the Ask the Experts radio show on AM 1380, The Answer.